I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you have renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you have been concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. And as we have seen from the passage, the message that I would like to share is all about contentment. Historian Arthur M. Schlesinger Jr. observes that our society is marked by inextinguishable discontent. Our quest is always better, more. We want a better job, better salary, better house, better car, better clothes, shoes, and so on. Not only that, we also are envious of what others have. So that is the witness that we have. And every day, I think we struggle with it. Now, for Paul, he said that the real contentment is found only in Jesus Christ. The passage very clearly says, whatever the world pleasures that we look for, we seek for, that will not give a permanent solution or permanent contentment or satisfaction. Only Jesus can give permanent contentment. That's what the passage clearly says. When he made this statement, actually he was in the prison. And then think about or imagine about the prison life. There's no freedom. They don't provide a proper place to sleep. They don't provide proper clothes. There's no proper food, proper water, no proper facilities in the room. He must have gone through a lot of difficulties. Despite all the difficulties that he faced, he feels satisfied. According to this passage, he feels satisfied with it. He was very happy. There was no complaint. He was not complaining about a bad room or no fan. He was well contented. He was happy. He said he was well satisfied. How could he make such a bold statement in the midst of all the struggles and difficulties he was facing? Because Paul knew that contentment lies not in what he has, but contentment lies in who he is. That means the joy, the satisfaction that he gets is not from the food, from the money, or from the clothes, or from the room. He was in fact struggling. But he get contentment, satisfaction in God alone. That's what Paul said. Why he was contented, despite all that difficulties and problems he was going through inside the prison. Number one is, it's all because of an understanding of sovereignty permits him to be content. He knows who God is. He has experienced personally God in his life. And he knows that above God, there's no other God. And there's nobody in this world to rely on except God. Secondly, confidence in the providence of God. Not only accepting God as sovereign God, but the supply that God gave to him. That makes him, that kind of understanding makes him to be contented. Whatever I have, whatever I get is not from anybody else, but it is from God. Because God has promised me that He will feed me, He will provide me whatever the needs whatever I need, whatever I want. Anytime, God will help me, and God will feed me, and God will provide me. And He knows that even if he doesn't have enough, in future, God will provide him. So these are the two things that we really find in Paul's life. One is believing and accepting God as sovereign God. That makes him content with what he has. Secondly, the assurance that he gets from God, that God will provide him whatever he needs. Looking at this passage, real contentment is the product of a heart resting in God. The real contentment we find from this passage that a heart resting in God, that means believing in God or trusting in God. If we don't believe in God, if we don't trust in God, we cannot be content with what we have or what we get. Alan Perkins, he also beautifully defined what is all about contentment. He said, contentment is an inward attitude of the heart that submits to. Firstly, that submits to, and secondly, delights in God's care in every situation. Submitted to God our life. Like Paul. Paul, he submitted his life to sovereign God. And secondly, delight in God's care in every situation. Delighted, happy, satisfied that God takes care of us and God supplies all our needs in every situation. Very beautifully he defined. And that is all about contentment. Most people seek contentment in things or possessions. Not possession, but possessions, which is based on external circumstances. It brings external happiness, which is like a cotton candy. We all know if we take that one, it's very sweet, right? We really enjoy that. But it dissolves in no time. So external happiness or external contentment is like that. It doesn't last long. It just goes away. But we as a human being, we have a lot of weaknesses. Knowing that and experiencing that, we continue to seek outward contentment, outward happiness. But according to Paul, according to this scripture, that is just a temporary, that will not give you long and lasting and enduring happiness. Contentment will never be found outside a relationship with Jesus Christ. For the followers of Jesus Christ, contentment is one of the things we should be striving for. Our enemy is not possession, but excess, extra, excess. How to cultivate the attitude of contentment? We should give thanks for what we have instead of dwelling on what we don't have.
When upon my spirit